Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? This your boy Leo coming at you with another video. In this video, we're gonna go over IT Applications D317. This is gonna be for WGU. This is gonna be our sixth now video on WGU and some of the courses. In the past videos, I cover some of the other courses and give you hints and tips on things that I did to pass it, and also give you my experience on what I did with the class. I am in the IT field. I have a help desk job. So some of these things I've heard of before, but a lot of the knowledge that I'm learning is on you, most of it. So again, I'm going to give you kind of a two-part, understanding on little paths that you probably could take depending on your experience, depending on if you have experience and you already took a bunch of IT courses, or you have certificates, or you are in an IT job. So you'll be able to kind of prepare yourself better. If you have no experience, this is your first time taking an IT course, or this might be like your third or fourth course through WGU, and you have no hands-on experience or no real work, experience from a work field, I'm also going to give you, hints and tips on how to go about this class. So just to give you guys a little more information, IT Application 317 is part of a two-class certification voucher. So what that means is you have IT Foundations D316, and then you have IT Applications D317. WGU structures them so you take D317 first, and then after you complete that, you can move on to 316. 317 is going to be core 2 of the CompTIA A+ exam, and then 316 is going to be part of the core 1. So by taking this class 317, going through the study material, and then taking that exam through CompTIA, you're going to have your core 2 part done, and then this class is done. You can move on to 316. Once you have 316 done, then you take core 1 through 316 IT Foundations. You'll be done with the class if you pass that exam, and with core 1 and core 2 completed, you will get shipped out a certificate so you can, put on your wall. You have your A+ certificate, and that's great, amazing. So, just before you actually log in and set up everything for CompTIA, it's just a hint, make sure that you use your personal email. Use your personal email. Do not use WGU's email to sign up for the CompTIA class, because once you're done with school, you won't have access to that email anymore. So you're going to have to, kind of deal with that. So make sure to be able to have access to the account, to the CompTIA account and all that information, that you use your personal email to sign up. Okay. Once you're signed up and you're ready to rock, you can start going through the, course material. This is going to be option A is going to be for somebody that has experience, know what they're, kind of doing. They've heard a lot of these terms again, over and over again, and, they might be in the field. For that person, I recommend going through the videos. You can watch the Jason Dion videos or the Mike Meyer videos through Udemy. If you don't want to use the Udemy, or you rather use a different kind of video structure, you can check out Professor Messer on YouTube, and he has a great core 2 A+ section also of videos. So personally, I use the Jason Dion. I kind of started on those, and I kind of went through the whole entire set. Looking back at it, it seems that I've seen a lot of better feedback from the Professor Messler and also the Mike Myers. So you can kind of take that with a grain of salt. You can start on one, see how you like them, and then maybe move on to, the other videos instead, if you prefer the structure or the way that information is given. Or you can do the Jason Dion, and if you're not going to be reading, or, kind of going through the reading part of the course, then you can move on and just do another set of videos like Mike Myers or Professor Messler. So when it comes to this actual portion of the course, again, you can probably get away with not going through the core cert stuff through CompTIA that they provide inside the course material, and along with the labs. So if you've never done a lot of these things that you're learning that he's teaching you, you may want to do the labs so you can get some hands-on experience if you haven't done that in your particular job yet. If you're a newbie and this is something that you're kind of first going into, you're scared, nervous, whatever it is, I recommend giving yourself a little more time, up to a month, maybe 2 months if you prefer, just to structure the information better. But I recommend, if possible, try to just get through it. Don't take breaks. Don't walk away from it for too long, because this information you're gonna probably lose it. There's a lot of stuff in this one, but don't get nervous because there's a lot of info. But once you kind of get going and you kind of understand and get to the portion of the quizzes, is all going to be pieced together, and you're kind of going to have a better experience, I believe. My experience was kind of iffy, but I'll tell you guys that after I'm done giving you guys a few hints and tips. Again, we're sticking on the newbies right now. If you're a newbie, you have no IT experience, no IT job, this is your first time taking IT courses, first certificate, etc., etc., you want to go make sure that you go through all the information. You don't want to stump yourself by trying to take the easy route and kind of fly through it, because it's not one of those situations where you're going to be in that. You're going to be able to fly through it, especially if you have not a lot of knowledge. It could happen, if you can cram tons and tons of time in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you can anybody can do anything. Everything's possible. Sky's the limit. But again, if you have no experience, I would do the labs. I would do all of them, because you're going to get that firsthand experience. You're going to be able to type commands in. You're going to be able to create accounts and all that kind of stuff. It kind of gives you a kind of a look into what it's like to work in for an IT company and do some of these jobs. Again, my experience, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I passed my first 3 classes, 2 weeks each. I thought I was going to come in this one and fly. I didn't realize it was part of the the certificate thing. So once I heard that from my advisor, it kind of scared me. So I tried to prepare harder for this one, and I printed out tons of notes and tons of things that I never even used. So if I could go back, I definitely would have done things completely different. Personally, I think the Cert Master stuff was draining, was boring. I was copying the stuff and having to text-to-speech program, and it was just a pain in the ass. It was so much content, so much information, and I got to the point where I just wanted to be at the end. I was kind of rushing through it. I couldn't sit there and just listen to this or read it. It just wasn't entertaining. My preferred method was the videos. I did some of the labs, even though I have the experience. I wanted to know different ways to do things, because sometimes when you go to a job, they might do things a certain way, and then you go to a different job and they completely do things a completely different way. So I definitely wanted to kind of see what was the differences, so I went ahead and did the labs too. It was definitely good learning and hands-on experience. So again, if you have no experience, do those labs. Again, same thing with if you have no experience. I would probably go through the Cert Master stuff and take my time and read everything. A lot of the questions and stuff, a lot of the stuff is going to be all from the information that's in the Cert Master. So that's probably going to be your best bet to find all the information in one place, But again, my personal opinion on the Cert Master, it was long, boring, and I just couldn't, I wasn't getting it. I would have had to probably go through that like 2-3 times in order to understand it. But I did complete it. I went through it. My scores weren't great. They were horrible. I was in the 60s. I was 50 sometimes. So I knew that that wasn't the method. But once I completed that, I moved over to the videos, and that was a lot more help. So I went through the series, watched all the videos, and once I was done with those, I just started taking practice quizzes like crazy. So I used all the practice quizzes through Jason Dion. I went online and looked up YouTube videos with practice questions. Somebody's literally just reading the question and reading the answer. I took the practice test. I would take the practice test, I would fail it. So let's say I got a 70, 60, 80. I would go through every quiz. I would go through the quiz after I failed it or passed it, whatever it was. And I would read every question, right and wrong, and then the answer. So I would read the question and then read the answer. I wouldn't even read the other. I wouldn't even read the other, answers. Read the question, read the correct answer, and move on. So I would do that with the 80, 90 questions. And then after I did that, reviewed it, I will go back in and retake the quiz. And then after this, you're starting to remember a lot of this stuff. So now after that, I would just retake the quiz, pass it, get a 95, 100, whatever it was. Because at this point, I'm remembering the question and the answer. And it's also helping me remember the content that I learned for the videos and the CertMaster. So again, I have experience in the IT field, so things for me were a little easier when it came to this stuff because I understand I understand how the business, goes and how it runs and the things that are day to day, so that makes it a lot easier. But I do not have, tons of knowledge either. It's just hands-on experience at this point. Those are my hints and tips when it comes to, newbies and people with experience. I would still go through all the course chatter, find all the documents, read everything, go through the Jason Dion actually has a study guide for the Core 2 that you can find. It's pretty lengthy and a big document, but it was nice to have to study before I took the final exam. So, with the test and then going over the study guide, it made me remember the stuff. So, right before the exam, that's what I did. That was my study method, was using that study guide. Days before the test, I spent it just going through all the quizzes that I could and remembering doing that same process of taking it, go over the answers, retaking it, and then moving on. I did that for a week straight. And then study guide the night of the exam, and boom, I passed it. Just to let you guys know though, I did take it the first time and I did fail it. I failed it by 20 points. I thought I was ready, after doing the CertMaster and watching the videos, but it wasn't enough, to be honest. And I really think the practice quizzes are, something that you really should use because it was very helpful on my end, to be able to do those and that structure that I told you guys I was doing. So once I finished all that studying, I reset my information to take the exam again. I had to talk to my advisor. I had to talk to the instructor and get it approved because I believe you have 2 attempts with CompTIA on this through WGU. So they'll pay for the first try and the second try. But after that, you're out of pocket, and some of these can get pretty pricey. So you definitely want to, take it when you're definitely ready for it. The first try, again, I was cool with it, not passing. I knew that my studying wasn't as great, leading up to it. I was kind of just getting through the content just to get through it. I wasn't actually understanding the content. And again, it goes back to the 3 methods I always tell you. Going over it 3 times usually makes it stick. So use that as an advantage. If you can, use the CertMaster and then do the videos and then do the practice quizzes. Or do 1 set of videos from Jason Dion, then do another set of videos from Professor Messler. You can use those 2, and then 3 can be your practice quizzes. That can be your 3 ways to go over the information. That was helpful to, for me for the past 4 classes. So hopefully it's something that can help you too. But let's go over some of the stuff that you're gonna see when you're, studying for this exam. The learner identifies operating systems and their configurations. So you're gonna be able to, identify, what Windows 10, what features it has. So Windows 10 doesn't have BitLocker. as part of their package. You have to get Pro or another version in order to have that. So it's gonna, that's actually gonna be one of your questions. A lot of, which one doesn't have BitLocker or, doesn't provide that. Also, the learner implements security principles across devices and networks. So just the proper way to going about locking down your device, put in a passcode, put in a PIN code, whatever it is, thumbprint, using Retina, scans, using your thumbprint as a scan. It goes back to that, MFA, 2FA, authentication, method. So, if you took some of the past courses, this part should be pretty easy, to understand since it's already covered. Let's see what else we got. We got the learner troubleshoot software security and malware issues. So they're going to show you the 7 steps of how to get rid of malware. And those are things that you want to remember. The first step, I believe it was, to identify the problem, look at the issues, see if you see the same problem, the malware issue that the person is seeing. And then after that, you want to, quarantine the device and, turn off the restore function so the device doesn't, create a restore that later on it can be restored and still have that virus in the system, stuff like that, and it's going to show you different ways to do this. It's going to be 7 steps. And by the time you're done with all that, you're going to know these steps and they're going to be pretty easy to, understand and, know what's going on. Then you're also going to have the learner implements basic operational procedures and documentation, change management, compliance, and communication. So it's going to teach you about chain of custody when you have a computer, and it's being moved around, that you need to change and update the information to know where this computer's been, where it's going, and where it ended. And that's with servers, that's with any equipment. And that happens in order to keep track of the equipment in case of anything was to happen where the company got sued. Then you have the chain of custody to be able to show where the machine was and just to track stuff. So that's one of the parts there that you're going to learn. Like I said, it's all common sense. Implements basic disaster recovery procedure. So you're going to be able to implement basic disaster recovery and business continuity procedures. So it's going to show you and teach you what to do and how things should be set up for backups. So if you're backing up a server or you're backing up information from a company, you want to have it in multiple media sources outside the company, multiple inside, and offline, just to be able to recover in case something happened to that company. You can come back to that backup and you're back to normal again. So it's going to teach you about those in case of a disaster and you have to recover, and also creating the document and making it important. That's one of the main things in IT, is to be able to have the system available. So you're going to learn some of that stuff. You're going to learn a little bit of scripting basics. So nothing too crazy, just normal commands inside a command line. What they do, like the ping-t command, it does a continuous ping. So it's going to tell you, hey, this person wants to see the connection on this website or computer, see if it's dropping. So you can do that ping computer name or IP address -t, hit that enter, and it's going to run the ping constantly. So if the computer drops connection, let's say loses internet, it's going to show you where it dropped, where it timed out, or the speeds that is going. So it's going to give you some of these normal scripting, and it's going to be also with Linux and Windows. So like I said, it's all easy. Like, it's stuff that I never even knew, but you'll start to remember the stuff, along with port numbers. So you're going to be tested on port numbers. And like I said, all these ports, they're going to be easy to remember if you study and sit down and actually keep an eye on it. You can actually kind of reference the port numbers by the numbers that they're given. So for RDP, remote desktop protocol, I know that it was a larger number on the port. It was like in the 300s or 400s, and that was one of the only ones that they had for RDP. So I was like, oh, in the 300, 400s, boom, that's the RDP, server. Then the same thing from the mail server, the port, or the FTP port. These are all things that you're gonna remember if you do your studying and go over it 3 times, and then before the exam go over the ports one last time, and just have a way to remember them. Create your own way. That's what I kind of did. I kind of tied like the port 25 and 110 are related to like email. So I was like, okay, 25, 110. I kind of remember that the 5 plus 5 equals 10. So, I'm just, 110, that's kind of how I familiarized them. And that kind of helped me, and I was able to pass a lot of those questions. So scripting is going to be in it, basic scripting, nothing crazy. You'll be able to get through that. The learner identifies remote access technology solutions. So that's another way to connect to machines. If you had to connect to a computer through RDP, it's going to log that person off the computer, and then you'll have full admin access. But if you need to log into a computer and see what a user is experiencing, you can use a program like VLC or an assistant, program to log in. A lot of these programs, you may not have admin credentials, so you can look and see what the person is doing, but you can't really make admin changes. So that's what RDP would be for. So that's kind of how you can kind of compare them on what happens. So you'll get a few questions about that. The CompTIA Core 2 exam was 75 questions, and 5 of those questions were actual drag and drop, where they ask you questions and you have to fill in the blank. It's not fill in the blank with random answers. They'll have the boxes there, and you just kind of drag them or answer questions. Some of the questions were customer based, questions, how to answer somebody through a text. The next step, basically you just click which option you want, and kind of how to respond to that person. And like I said, you're going to be looking for to be very customer based. You want to be a very customer based person that lets the user talk, lets them explain their issue, and then you can step in and kind of figure out what's going on. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go through some of these questions just to give you an example of some of the questions that you might see, or just to kind of get a idea. All right, so question number 1. A junior Linux systems administrator needs to update the system software. Which of the following shell commands would allow the administrator to gain the necessary permissions to update the software? So in this situation, you're looking at a Linux system. So you gotta break it away from Windows, so you're looking at Linux. It's a completely different system. You probably don't have a lot of experience, but you just gotta remember the commands. You don't gotta remember anything wild about it. So the answer will be sudo. So if you wanted to, which of the following shell commands would allow an administrator to gain the necessary permissions to update the software? It'd be the sudo command. So that'll give you admin access. All right, so next question. A small business has an open wireless network, so vendors can connect to the network without logging in. The business owners are concerned that the nearby company is connecting and using the wireless connection without permission. If the small office business requires that the network remain open, which of the following configuration settings should be changed to address these concerns? So you're going to look at power levels. So you want to make sure that the power levels are not an issue. So that's going to be that answer. Let's move on to the next one. A user's computer is displaying a black screen. The technician restarts the computer, but the OS still does not load. The technician discovers the OS was patched the previous evening. Which of the following should the technician attempt next? So the answer is going to be reboot into safe mode and roll back the updates. So in that situation, it looks like, whatever they did is bringing up the system with a black screen. They can't get any further. So what do? You roll it back to the last time it worked, correctly. So reboot into safe mode and roll back the updates. So it looks like it was because of the updates. So you want to remove the updates. So go into safe mode. Going into safe mode also, if you have driver issues where things are not working, you can load into safe mode in Windows, and Windows will load the system without all those drivers and all that stuff, so you can kind of troubleshoot the stuff. Let's move on to the next question. A Windows user is attempting to install a local printer and is unsuccessful based on permissions. Which of the following user type best describes the user? So for that one, it's a guest. So Windows user is attempting to install a local printer and is unsuccessful based on permissions. Which of the following user types best describes the user? So this user can't install anything. They need an administrator, so they're going to be a guest. An end user is browsing the internet when multiple browser pages open by themselves. So this is going to be part of that, adware, malware, phishing stuff. You're going to have to be able to, see which one's which and, give definitions. Again, easy once you start, actually going into the stuff, you'll remember the stuff. At the end, an end user is browsing the internet when multiple browser pages open by themselves. The user notices the PC is running slowly even while now browsing the internet. Which of the following actions should the user take? So they can either update the antivirus definition, install anti-malware software, enable the pop-up blocker, or reboot the PC. So if your PC is running slow and you're seeing that multiple browsers, are opening by themselves, you got to install an anti-malware. So it's going to be answer B, install anti-malware software. So you're going to be able to install that, run the scan, get rid of that, and then you'll follow the rest of the steps in the adware or malware removal. Again, it's going to be 7 steps. You'll remember these. All right, let's go on to the next one. A desktop technician is attempting to upgrade several machines to Windows 10. After realizing there is only one disk for the installation, the technician decides to upgrade over the network. Which of the following boot methods initiates such an upgrade? So you have the answers of SSD, which is a drive, just like it's a hard drive. You have an optical drive where you can put a CD into a drive and load it that way. You can use a flash drive by plugging it in, or you can use PXE. PXE, remember, is over the network. It's over the internet. So the answer would be PXE. So the technician decides to upgrade over the network. So that's the part you want to remember. Over the network, PXE. You can't use a drive. You can't use a disk over the network. So you're going to use it that way. All right, let's move on to the next one. A company brings in contractors several times a year to perform inventory, and the contractors use company supply laptops. The company's security policy states that once the inventory is complete, the contractors should be able to log into the laptops until the next inventory. Which of the following best enforces this policy? So you can either delete the user account, you can disable the user account, you can restrict the user account, you can reset the user account. Which is the answer? Well, delete the user account, you don't want to do that. If you delete it, then next time when they come back, you're going to have to recreate the account. So that's useless. Disable the user account. That means you can disable it so nobody can log into it. And when they come back, you just right click it, enable, and they can log in. You just give them a new password and they log in. Restrict the user account, where you just remove access and remove permissions. But you still have the account available, so somebody can still log into it. Or you could reset the user accounts, which I don't even know if you can actually do that, reset the user account. I mean, you can reset the password, I guess, and change the password, but then a hacker can come in, find that account that's not being used, and start using it. So the correct answer here would be to disable the user account. Disable it, it can't access anything, it can't do anything, and then when that person comes back and needs that account, you just right click it and enable. So that's the answer, B, disable the user account. Let's do another one. A wireless access point is going to be configured in a small office located in a crowded building. Which of the following should the installation technician perform to increase the security of the wireless network? You can choose 2 in this one. So in this one, we're going to choose, so A is reduce the transmitting power, B, reduce the channel availability, C, disable the DHCP server, D, enable QoS management. E, disable the SSID broadcast. And F, implement WEPA encryption. So the two answers you want to do is, so a wireless access point is going to be configured in a small office located in a crowded building. Which of the following should the installation technician perform to increase the security of wireless network? So it's going to be a crowded building. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on there. You don't want somebody accidentally logging into, the wrong router. So you're going to reduce the transmitting power so it's only confined to that part of the building or those offices. You don't want it to spread out so everybody in the office can see it in the other offices. So that's one of the answers. It's going to be A. And then you're probably going to disable the SSID broadcast, which is E. So what that means, you don't want it to be out in the world. You don't want everybody to log into their Wi-Fi and see yours pop up as an option, because that might have people click on it or might have people attempt to hack it. So what do? You hide it, and only IT goes in and adds it when needed. So those are the answers. All right, so we went through a few questions. We went through my hints and tips and what worked for me. We went through a few of the exam, what to expect, what to see and look out for. So hopefully you're feeling a little more comfortable going into this exam. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to drop me a message, drop me a comment. If these are helping you and you prefer me to continue making these videos or whatever, give me a thumbs up, like, comment, whatever, just to let me know that somebody's getting some help from these. I'm going to also do a Core 2 question and answer video where I'm just going to go over the questions and answers. So if you prefer to listen to the questions where you're in the car and stuff like that instead of having to read them, maybe it'll help you guys to, kind of get through those stuff. So we'll probably do about maybe 50 questions or maybe 30 questions for video or something like that, just to keep them short, not too long, and that can help you, get repetitive. So again, if you like some of those videos, let me know and I can create some of those. Yeah, so those are my hints and tips when it comes to taking the class. Those are some of the things that, I did that worked for me. So that might not work for you, though. You might be able to take a complete different, approach to things. But, for me, that's what worked. So again, anything is possible. Any learning style is possible. You can do this in any kind of way. And just to let you know, this is doable. Like this is stuff that I even didn't know when I'm in the IT field. So, it's just if you're feeling uneasy about it, just get into the learning, get into the videos, repetition, the 3 times. Remember the 3 rule. But the 3rd time, you'll remember the stuff and you'll fly by the exam. So a little info about the actual exam. So once you set up and go to the course assessment and you ask for the voucher, your instructor will send you a voucher to your email. And with that voucher, you will go onto the CompTIA website and sign up for the Core 2 exam. You will use the voucher at the end when it asks for payment. It'll tell you that you have it'll ask you if you have a voucher. You click yes and you enter your voucher, hit enter, submit, and it's paid for. Then after that, you just submit and select your time. And a lot of the times were available. I was able to do mine on a Sunday night at 8 o'clock at night. The setup is different. It's for Pearson, which is for, whatever CompTIA decides to use as their vendor. But I thought personally that it was better than the actual WGU assessment, like the other options that, they use. The longest part was just waiting in line to get my turn to take the exam. Because when I logged in 30 minutes early, I had a queue of about 17 people ahead of me. So I had to sit there and wait. And when you're sitting there waiting, you're on record and you can't use your phone and you can't be studying. So you're basically just sitting there waiting, anxious for this test to start. So that was the only part, that kind of sucks. But other than that, once you do get in, it is your turn, they'll go over your stuff really quick and get you set up to go. And then at the end, just be ready. You're going to be asked to do a survey, and they won't tell you the answer to your grade or if you passed or failed to after the survey. So that sucks because you're sitting there anxious as hell clicking for the survey. I'm like, I don't even want to do this. I want to see if I passed or failed. But Once I finally got the check mark, I was ecstatic. You know, like that night, I remember like I was in shock because, you know, I failed it the first time, and the last 2 months taking this class have been kind of rough for me. I had a lot of things in, you know, our family going on. We had another child, and it's just a lot of wild stuff. You know, I have 3 children, so, you know, life is crazy. But either way, we made it happen. We passed this class. We're through it. We moved on to 316. After 316 IT Foundations is done, we'll create a video for that and hopefully have a paper to show you guys of my certificate. So I'm excited to get my first cert. I think, you know, my overwhelmness over the course at the beginning was just, you know, kind of, you know, going into a cert class, you almost talk yourself into a difficult situation when in reality it's not that difficult. It's been the same process as the other classes, and the other classes have built the foundation for this course to, you know, be taken and passed. So again, you know, like if you are feeling a little uneasy, don't feel uneasy, you know, and if you are, it's normal. You know, you're gonna feel that way, but hopefully with some of those hints and tips that I gave you guys, it can help you pass through this class in a breeze so you don't take 2 months like I did. I still got 2 more months on my semester. I grabbed another class since I passed 4 already. So I'm on my 5th class. I'm gonna do 316. Hopefully I can get that done quick and move on to my next class. Again, this is your boy King Leo. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys' time, and good luck on your exams.